I must down to the polls again, for the call of my favourite side is a bold call, and an old call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a dirty fight, with the insults flying, and the rude names, and the false claims, and the barefaced lying.
On Thursday, why don't you follow my example? You can't dislike the Labour Party as much as you dislike the other ones, and all the lunatics at the end too. So there you are, that's my argument, and yes, thank you. Good evening.
Oh, it's been a slick campaign, all right. It could almost be conservative, except that it's Brahms they play instead of Elgar, and everyone in the Labour Party speaks for ours. But at least Neil Kinnock and the party have picked up one useful campaign tip. Contrary to conventional political wisdom, it seems that there are votes to be had by all parties if they mention militant a lot. To the question,
are you going to expel the militant members of the Labour Party?
The answer is yes,
said the party leader, though his provisos led him to dwell lovingly on the subject for almost 10 minutes. But that's not the half of it. The other main parties never shut up about militant either. The Tories believe it helps them.
Militant.
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 The Alliance are convinced they reap the benefit, though they came unstuck early on when they tried to broaden it into a general anti-extremist campaign.
And there's nobody who's got more experience of how to deal with Ted Knight than Roger. I mean, the basic... What?
He doesn't represent
No,
Fulham.
but you have to look at what the Fulham Labour Party is. And if you look through some of the statements...
Dennis Healy in 1981.
Well, good for them, as I must say. That's excellent news. It shows them to do more wisdom than many of the others.
Later on, they learnt the rules.
Militant.
Militant tendency.
So here's a new growth industry in Britain, exploiting the militant tendency. It's cheap, it's easy, and everyone wins. Even Derek Hatton and friends get to meet Larry Whitty and a nicer class of High Court judge. But I digress. Back to Mr. Kinnock.
they are definitions of the democracy of socialism and the socialism of democracy. And I regard democratic centralists, Leninists, the militant tendency as the enemy.
On Tuesday night, he put his weight behind this new campaigning tactic by taking us on a guided tour of the party's constitution.
That's Clause 4, Part 1. Clause 4, Part 2 says...
Indeed, he seemed quite elated by the prospect of blood flowing, someone else's, of course, in the sure knowledge that voters aren't squeamish.
Yes. Yes, and with a gleeful socialist heart.
Unfortunately, not everyone is in on the secret. One member of the shadow cabinet was in real danger of losing Labour votes by failing to mention militant once.
Is it an issue? Do you find it an issue? All our reports, it's not. Or is it just good television, camera going, microphone? Not the issue of this election.
This uncomradely display prompted us to consider, in the context of Fulham, what other handy lessons might be learnt by by-election candidates and their distinguished helpers. For example, how to handle noisy meetings.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Let me give you a couple of examples that even... Let me give you a couple of examples, gentlemen, that even in your ignorance you can't possibly put down to the common man.
If you are minded to put the boot in, do so with tact and diplomacy.
Well, sir, I suggest you should have asked your father about birth control.
Keep a friend in the audience to help calm things down.
As your Member of Parliament, in a fortnight's time, you can fight your... You can use your weight...
Should we give him 1 minute? Yes. Okay. Start counting, Chairman. 1 minute from now. Shush.
Be very careful whom you ask to move the vote of thanks from the floor.
Okay, come on, sit down, sit down, sit down.
Try not to oversell yourself at press conferences. It only leads to tears.
And I could not work or speak for a candidate in a by-election whom I did not like and thoroughly approve of. That you may think is rather unrealistically fastidious, but it's the case.
Sir Patrick, how many of the 9 previous by-election campaigns in this Parliament have you spoken at for the Conservative candidate?
In this Parliament?
Yes.
I don't know that I've spoken. John Lacey will be able to tell me, but I don't know that I've spoken as distinct from working for any candidate in a by-election in this Parliament.
And remember to learn your more difficult speeches by heart.
Roger Little here. Nice to see you there. Roger Little, your Alliance candidate for Fulham. Good morning there. Roger Little for the Alliance. Good morning. Roger Little, your Alliance candidate in the Fulham by-election. Hello there. Roger Little for the SDP Liberal Alliance.
Try to remember who your visitors are.
And I've got to introduce Jeff Rooker, who's the Shadow Health Minister, as most of you will know. Sorry. First slip of the thing. Shadow Housing Minister.
Try to distinguish between your leader and his wife.
Your Alliance candidate with steady earn. Roger Little here with steady earn.
Hang on your leader's every word.
In the general negotiating environment that are bound to have taken place, we pursue the policies of maintained...
Learn that some support is more trouble than it's worth.
What's making you think about changing?
There's lots of things. I don't like the idea of all this nonsense of bringing all these Asians into the country, and there's not enough room for us here.
Never neglect the uncommitted pensioners' vote.
We have to have a new government that's going to take seriously issues like unemployment and housing and the health service. And secondly, that they know very well that Liberals are keeping the Conservatives in power here in the council. A vote for the Alliance is quite simply a vote for the
How long
Conservatives.
have they been doing it here?
For the last 7 3/4 years.
Have they?
Visiting party grandees are a wonderful bonus. They have the skill to handle the really awkward questions, like unemployment.
It has tripled, and we're doing everything we can, but it is the one thing they get us on.
Campaign veterans must be treated with caution. Don't let them play with electricity.
Okay, try a bit of music here.
Don't let them wander off on their own, lest they get completely out of hand.
Why haven't we seen any SDP people in Sands End for the last 5 years?
Well, I'm very surprised because I think that we've been in most parts of the borough of Fulham, but if we've made a mistake, we are the party which is ready to apologise. We know we don't get everything right, and we're going to put it right. Thank you very much for so kindly drawing my attention to the problem. Most
Let's
grateful.
hope you'll do better in future.
Thank you very much. He says he hopes we'll do better in future. That's a very nice thing for a Labour Party supporter today. Thank you very much indeed. We will do better in future. Good morning, madam. Nice to see you here. Doing a bit of morning shopping. May I just say that nice to see you. Courteously respecting your support on Thursday. Hope you might be thinking of Roger Little, our very excellent candidate. There are so many people who voted Labour and they voted Tory and they're changing their minds. And I hope very much it may be you as well. Thank you, madam. I hope we haven't unfairly intruded onto the pleasant Saturday morning that you were hitherto enjoying. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. David Putnam.
Every Saturday we have these wallies coming down here, one complaint after another. I'm not even...
Tell me this, are you being hassled a lot by... how's the election affected the atmosphere around here?
It's polluted. You have politicians, too many politicians. We just want to do our business and get on with work.
But can you tell me, will you be voting yourself in the election?
Heavens no. We just have to put up with it.
Not a friendly, but they're all waving now. It's all coming clean today. I'm not saying it's all over. Nobody would say that. In our parliamentary democracy, you have to fight to win. It's not Moscow. It isn't Washington either. It's here in London, although Mr. Gorbachev will be waiting for the results. On Saturday, Friday morning, we'll say, and that is the news from Fulham. And in Washington, President Reagan will say that what is the news from Fulham, and we will be able to tell them that what matters to Fulham is that Roger Little has worked his way through. There he is, Roger Little now, talking to yet another voter in the London Borough of Fulham as this campaign moves towards, if I may use the word not to be misunderstood, its climax here in the streets of Fulham.
I think I ought to have been paid a sum for bringing cheer into people's lives by saying good morning so many times at the tube station. And then, of course, you know, having a solid slog throughout the day with a meeting virtually every night, it's been extremely exhausting, and of course, it's been a long campaign.
Some people say you have to be some kind of masochist to be a by-election candidate nowadays.
Well, I can't say yes. It's certainly an experience for a lifetime. I now understand what Roy Jenkins must have gone through in going through 2 in a year. I think that's an absolutely remarkable achievement for someone of his age at that time, having the stamina to do that. I don't think I could fancy doing another within a year, I tell you.
Now, it's interesting about the debate because you did very well in the debate. Everyone says you did very well in the debate. And there was a sort of feeling about going for the jugular, of being able to get a bit of infighting and being tough. Is that the real Roger Liddell?
Well, I actually think I have to screw myself up in order to be tough, to be quite honest. I think I'm normally a sort of fairly relaxed, jolly person. But I do think that, you know, when you're trying to argue your political case, you do have to try and put your points straight and toughly. And after all those years of Lambeth Council, when I've been trying to make my voice heard against the background of ranting and raving which goes on there, it's given me a good experience in sticking to the point while you're being interrupted.
Politicians these days don't make public speeches into large audiences on the whole, particularly not politicians of my lack of experience. So to have 300 or 400 people in a hall at the Fulham Town Hall, to stand up on the platform and then to get them, however spontaneously, getting up and giving me a standing ovation at the end was an amazing kick. It's an ego trip, but then the whole campaign's an ego trip, and that's what it's all about. I mean, seeing your name 1,000 times in windows around Fulham is an extraordinary ego trip.
I suppose you'd been warned about the devilish press, the reptiles coming in the morning, but how did you react to them?
I'd heard stories which said, you know, don't be too worried about them, and stories which said they're awful, you know, they'll tear you to shreds, they're like animals, and it's like being thrown into the bear pit. I think I just hopefully took it as relaxed as I could, and just gave the answers that I could, which were as honest as I could give them, and it was difficult. But I think hopefully I learned something over the period of the 4 weeks and got better at it.
If you don't win this evening, would you want to stay on in Fulham?
Yes, win or lose, I will stay on in Fulham. It's provided that I'm asked to stay on in Fulham. I mean, it's not my choice alone, certainly. I would have a decision as whether I wanted to. If it was left to me, I would want to very much. I've met a lot of very nice people in Fulham, people who have given me a lot of support. And win or lose, I want to stay and do what I can to help them.
I was warned before we started that it might be tough and there'd be all sorts of bad moments, but I've enjoyed it hugely. It's been great fun right from the beginning. There have been difficult moments. It's been tense at times.
What's been the most difficult, tense moment, do you think, for you?
I think making sure that one had making sure one paced the campaign properly. At one stage, when we were about 2 weeks into the campaign, I certainly felt this is going to go on for a long time, and will I actually have the strength to see it through to the end?
Are you ambitious, Nick? Do you want to hold high office?
I think anyone who goes in for politics has a degree of ambition. It's premature to talk about high office, but I obviously want to do my utmost to help the Labour Party win the next election, and I would hope after that to play a role in supporting Neil Kinnock as Prime Minister, and to try and ensure that many of our ideals are put into practice by the next Labour government.
So you are ambitious for high office, in fact.
Of course.
Isn't it ironic that there we had 3 excellent candidates, and yet in little over an hour's time, 2 of them are going to be declared losers? That's the sort of political Russian roulette we play at modern by-elections. Yet it's worth remembering that in the last Parliament, no fewer than 6 losers went on to their great reward and are now safely tucked up in the House of Commons. The moral, I suppose, is keep on walking the political tightrope, and remember that things aren't always as bad as they seem in by-elections. They're usually a great deal worse. And that brings us to Newsnight's by-election special traditional musical tribute to all candidates, winners and losers, still walking the political life. And tonight, it's with the help of Dire Straits.
major problem, particularly in Fulham?
But worrying isn't enough.
I think Nick Rainsford is a very nice chap.
Loads of people are going to want to try and exploit this.
A good thing, too.
Come Johnny, gonna tell you the story. Hand me now my walking shoes. He come Johnny with the power and the glory. Backbeat, the talking blues. He got the action, he got the motion. And the boy can play. The dedication, devotion, the turning all the night time into the day. The song about the sweet little woman. They do the song about the night. Then they do the walk.
Nothing would surprise you because you know everything, don't you?
That's very interesting. Since when?
Let me come back to you on that, if I may.
I insist that this is nothing to do with my baldness.
He come Johnny singing, oh.